Well, good morning. Here in central Indiana, we just went through a spell of heat, which has been happening through the central part of the U.S. for a few weeks now. And they claim it's due to high pressure causing a ring of fire, a heat dome. Why they call it a heat dome? I'm going to try to make sense of this, if I can. But there'll be many that won't get it. NASA tells you that the sun is 93 million miles away. But just supposing, it is much closer. And a lot of people don't believe in the Bible, believe in God, but in creation, He put the two lights in the firmament, a dome above us, and they rotate around a localized sun that is very close. And in our summer months in the northern hemisphere, whatever the dome is made of, no one knows, no one's ever been through it, they can't not prove it, all you see is CGI cartoons. As it passes over where a high pressure is, let's say it works like a giant magnifying glass and heats up that area, and the heat just pours down to the surface, and no rain or anything can get through that high pressure, so it just heats up and intensifies. That's why it stays hot at night when you got a heat dome over you, because as the sun leaves your perspective and goes out of your view, whatever that material, that dome was made of, is still hot and still radiating its heat down, and then it comes back and the cycle starts all over again, heating up that surface of that dome from this very small localized sun that's either in the dome, the firmament, or right above it. That's just the way I look at it. We already know that the reason they say we get our seasons is because of the tilt. Let's say the sun's over here, okay, over here. We tilt away in the northern hemisphere to get our winter months. But make note that the equator changes. That makes NASA out to be a liar right there. And then it tilts back and tilts toward the sun, which is over here. Changes the equator again. The equator only stays the same twice in a year's course. It is virtually impossible for the seasons on a ball because of a tilt. I don't care how you want to spin it. Whatever kind of garbage you want to come up with scientifically, it is impossible. And where I'm at, in central Indiana, in the winter months, when it's tilted away, it could be 30 degrees here, and you can drive 1,000 miles south from the heat, 93 million miles away now, and gain 50, 60 degrees in temperature from something 93 million miles away. And if you're on the ball and that's 93 million miles away, this wouldn't be but a speck of sand in comparison. And the equator would never stay the same. Never. Except for twice a year as it tilts. But with a localized sun that passes over, let's go back to the heat dome, passes over an area of high pressure, which I'm sure there's natural high pressure, but I think they've figured out how to make high pressure and low pressure and even create wind. But anyhow, a localized sun, as it passes over, would heat that up. And on the flat Earth, the equator never changes as the sun goes down to the southern part. then slingshots back into the northern. That's how you get your seasons. And the equator is always the same, always. And Antarctic is not a continent at the bottom of the ball. It is the ice wall holding in the ponds of water and the land. And no flat earther believes we're on a pancake and everything else are balls in the sky going around the sun. That's just my take on the seasons and the heat domes down the road.